What's going on, guys? This is Sam, and this is the iPhone X in gold. These are official images from Apple that they submitted to the FCC for approval, and I cannot believe that we're actually seeing these. These were clearly supposed to be confidential, as you can see by the Apple branded watermark across the images. They say Apple proprietary and confidential. Clearly, they did not want anyone ever seeing these images, and the FCC apparently leaked these earlier today. This comes courtesy of Mac Rumors, who first discovered these images, and they are pretty revealing. Now, they don't tell us anything about the upcoming 2018 iPhone lineup, the 6.1-inch LCD model, the second generation iPhone X, or even the iPhone X Plus, but they absolutely confirmed that Apple did have an iPhone X in gold in the works, and that all the rumors that we heard about that were not made up. They were not just randomly cited. Apple was working on a gold iPhone X for release, and it fell through for some reason. After these images leaked, I've heard some pretty mixed reviews and thoughts on the iPhone X in gold, but I actually really like it. I think if this gold iPhone X would have been available at the date of sale for iPhone X on November 3rd when pre-orders went live, I probably would have bought that one instead of the white or space gray version, just because I think gold on the iPhone X looks really good. In addition to the back being gold on this iPhone X, you can see that it also has a matching stainless steel band that is also gold, so color match, just like the white iPhone X had a stainless steel silver band. The black iPhone X or space gray version had a black band. It looks like the gold iPhone X would have a gold band going around it, and I think that looks pretty nice. It makes the iPhone X to me look a little bit more premium, more like a piece of jewelry, I think, than a piece of technology. I'd love to hear your thoughts on this iPhone X down below. If Apple would have released this alongside the white iPhone X and the space gray iPhone X, would you have bought this gold version as well? I think the color looks pretty cool. I've seen some people that said they do not like it at all, so let me know your thoughts down below. I love reading your comments. Now that we're in April of 2018, these images are pretty old. I think Apple initially took these photos around June or July and then officially submitted them around August or September of 2017, but we've heard rumors now for the 2018 iPhone lineup that those higher-end iPhone X models, the iPhone X2 and the iPhone X Plus, could come in gold in addition to white and space gray, which I think would be a really good idea. Obviously, colors are a great way to entice consumers to buy a phone. They're definitely an exciting part of the phone purchase process, and just today, the same day that these iPhone X gold images leaked, Apple released the iPhone 8 and iPhone 8 Plus in the product red color option, which I think looks really cool. If you missed my unboxing of that, I'll leave it linked up in the top right-hand corner of the screen. So realistically, gold will probably be making its debut on the iPhone X lineup with the 2018 models, the iPhone X version 2 or iPhone X second gen and the iPhone X Plus. However, we have heard some rumblings that maybe in the middle of the year, possibly around WWDC or ahead of the 2018 iPhones, Apple could release a version of the iPhone X, the 2017 model, in this gold color. Just like Apple released a product red version of the iPhone 8 a few months after the initial unveiling of the phone and initial release of the phone, maybe to engage consumers and try to sell a few more iPhone Xs, Apple would release a gold color variant. I definitely don't think that is too far out of the realm of possibility. However, with the iPhone 8 in red just being made available recently, you would think that Apple would have released the gold iPhone X if one was coming at all alongside that. We didn't see it. I think there's a possibility that we could see it in the future at WWDC, but I definitely wouldn't be holding my breath. As soon as the iPhone X became official in September, I was really confused where the gold model was. I remember when Apple was up on stage talking about it, they only talked about space gray and white. And when we saw the leaked versions of the live wallpapers, you probably noticed that there were not 1 and 2 for space gray and silver, but there was a third one as well, a yellow colored wallpaper that seems like it would look really great on a gold iPhone like this one. And we saw that with the iPhone 8, we had a space gray, gold, and silver wallpaper launch in the settings app pre-installed on those devices. Apple was clearly working on a gold iPhone X. It fell through, but I can only hope that we will see it in the future. That was just something else that I wanted to add that I hadn't seen a lot of other people talk about. Apple seemed very prepared to market and launch this device. There was a wallpaper that shipped on every iPhone X. It's still on the iPhone X today that was made for a gold iPhone X that just never ended up becoming a reality. Over the past year, more so than any other year in recent memory, Apple has been absolutely bombarded by leaks left and right from Bloomberg, now from the FCC, with photos of this gold iPhone X. And earlier this week, they reportedly released an internal memo to employees about how the leaks need to stop And that memo was leaked to Bloomberg. In this leaked memo to Bloomberg about how iPhone and other leaks at Apple need to stop, they talk about how leaks are a very serious thing. And Apple basically says that I think they made 12 arrests in the past year for individuals who were leaking information about Apple, the company, and more importantly, Apple's upcoming products. And I had no idea Apple was taking it that seriously, and it makes me question why Apple is so hard on leakers in general. I get that sometimes sharing very important and very proprietary information about the company you work for to sources like 9to5Mac, whose name was actually mentioned in the internal memo, which is kind of crazy. I couldn't imagine leaking something like the iOS 11 Golden Master to 9to5Mac. That employee was fired, as Apple mentions in the memo. They're just very serious in general. And I get it. Of course, you want to protect proprietary information. You don't want to spoil all the fun ahead of a large keynote event, especially for a product release as big for Apple as the iPhone 8, the iPhone 8 Plus, and the iPhone 10 as well. But at the same time, I feel like leaks at this point, at least in 2018, are just a necessary part of company culture. If you run a large corporation, Google, Microsoft, Apple, Tesla, any other very large company on the market, leaks are going to happen. And I don't think that they're always necessarily a bad thing. Now, sometimes they can be. Of course, a really bad leak about something that a company's doing or working on could be bad for the company. For example, another recent Bloomberg report cites that the HomePod is not selling that well and that Apple has actually cut orders with suppliers because that product is not doing well. Hearing that about a newly released product that is not doing as good as anticipated obviously doesn't look good for a company like Apple. So leaks like that clearly would hurt the company's reputation a little bit. Conversely, leaks about a new iPhone, all the things that we've heard about the 2018 iPhones, I think have only made people more excited about them. I mean, imagine it's 7-8 months after the iPhone 10 was unveiled, and we know absolutely nothing about the next generation iPhones. It'd be very weird to not know anything about future iPhones, but we already know that there's a new 6.1-inch LCD model coming on top of two higher-end iPhone models, the iPhone 10 version 2 and the iPhone 10 Plus. We know a lot about these phones, not everything, but we know enough to help people right now in the purchasing phase know, yes, I want to buy the iPhone 10 that came out in 2017, or I'm going to hold off just a few months to get the second generation version coming out in probably September, October, or November of 2018. And leaks help a lot that way. They let you know whether you should buy the current iPhone model, the one that's out right now, or if you should hold off until next year. And I'm sure Apple's mentality is that if there's no information about the next generation models, no one knows what's coming, maybe users will be more tempted to buy the current generation model, the one that's already out. I bring this up because it seems like Apple is beginning to take a very strict approach to leaks, and I don't think that is going to be good for them in the long run. The fact that they arrested 12 of their own employees, that they reported them directly to law enforcement, I'm sure for violating their employment contract, is a really big deal. And hearing that you could be arrested for sharing information with a third-party news source like 9to5Mac or Mac Rumors or The Verge or anyone else, someone like myself, is a very scary thought, and I think that that will affect a lot of employees and their mentality about sharing things. Apple says that they have a lot of ways of tracking digital fingerprints and what employees are doing, but as a corporation as large as Apple, leaks are a way to get consumers excited about new products, to get media outlets excited about products, and overall to generate a lot of hype that otherwise wouldn't be created without leaks. I would love to hear your thoughts on this down below. I hope that the leaks don't stop. I hope they continue around their current rate, maybe just a little bit less. Once again, this is a leaked memo, so Apple did not intend for anyone to ever see this, but this memo to employees got leaked by another leaker, and I'm sure Apple is very curious to find out who did that. I hope that Apple doesn't continue to legally reprimand employees. Obviously, I understand that taking job action, like firing an employee, could be necessary if they are sharing top secret or confidential information. But then actually going a step further and pursuing it with law enforcement just seems a little bit unnecessary. I'm sure that that's a bit of an overreaction right now, but who knows? Maybe that will be the solution to Apple's problem. Maybe people will stop sending out leaks now. One last iPhone rumor that came out recently that I found really interesting comes courtesy of Economic Daily News, picked up by Mac Rumors, and it talks about that in 2019, we could see a third generation iPhone X with a triple camera setup. There's only one phone that I've seen in the market so far that has 3 lenses. That is the Huawei P20 Pro. I actually love the finish on this phone. I think it looks incredible. I think seeing gradient colors on iPhones in the future would be extremely interesting. But this phone right here has 3 lenses on it, which at first might seem a little bit insane, but a lot of reviewers, a lot of other tech YouTubers have been saying that the Huawei P20 Pro is actually one of the best phones for shooting pictures and videos on the market, because the benefits of adding multiple lenses onto the same phone is that you can, number one, have different focal lengths. So one could be like an 80mm, one could be a 40mm, and you can also have a third lens that might be also a second 80mm, but that one has a different aperture. So one would be at like an f1.4, another lens could be at an f1.8, giving you better or worse low light performance depending on what you are feeling. Having these come to the iPhone would be really exciting. It would absolutely take photography on the iPhone to the next level, and it seems to be working out very well on Huawei's phone. I really hope we see it on the iPhone lineup in 2019. Anyway, that's gonna wrap up this video. There's a lot happening with leaks at Apple. That's all the iPhone rumors that I want to talk about with you all today. As always, if you do enjoy watching, it does seriously help me out if you drop a like below and subscribe for more videos like this in the future. If you want to help support the channel, you can head over to shop.iupdateos.com to get a shirt just like this one. That would also be fantastic. For now, I've been Sam. I hope all of you are doing great, and I'll talk to you in my next video.